All right, so I'm going to start off by saying this at the beginning of this video so you can't say that you missed it. Yes, block breaking is absolutely too prevalent in UFC 5 right now, and yes, it absolutely needs a nerf. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Block breaking is too prevalent in UFC 5 right now, and it absolutely needs a nerf. With that said, I'm going to give you guys a little background on this video that I'm making right now. I had a few matches with T-Dog, a content creator on YouTube and a really interesting guy as well. And after our matches, I was giving him some pointers and I was telling him that I noticed that he would be fairly easy to block break just based on the way his defense looks. And when I said that, he told me that he wanted me to block break him. He said, okay, since you're saying that, I want to see you block break me. And so I was like, are you sure you want me to block break you? Like, it's not going to be pleasant. Are you sure you want me to do that? And he was like, yes, I want you to do it. I don't really think you can, but I want you to do it. And so we got into a match. I picked Ilia Topuria and he picked Yair Rodriguez. And I'm going to show you guys the match right now. All right, so as you can see, I am using Ilia Topuria. He is using Yair Rodriguez. And right away, I just start teeing off on the block. I start working his block with the jab, with the cross. And of course, with block breaking, a lot of times, what you don't really notice is that the person that's block breaking you is exhibiting some defense on his own side, right? I'm moving my head, evading some of his shots. I'm definitely tanking some of his shots as well. And I'm just trying to make sure I'm keeping contact on the block. And essentially what block breaking is like overcommitting the block to one side and then inserting a clean shot in the side that the block is not overcommitted, right? So overcommit the block to the front and then throw round strikes to break through it. That's pretty much what block breaking is right here. So as you can see, I'm overcommitting his block to the front and then breaking right through it to the side, and I drop him right away. His nose is busted up right now, which of course is gonna make the shots he's taking even worse. I sit him down again, and this fight ends right here. This is where it ends, right here. Now, that wasn't pretty. All right, that definitely wasn't pretty. And when we were done playing, you know, he was like, bro, like, you gotta admit that is a problem. You gotta admit that's a problem. And I told him that it is. Yeah, it definitely is. There are definitely issues in there making this play style better than it is. Okay, but here's what I need you guys to understand. And I really hope that you guys can hear what I'm trying to say right here. Okay, two things can be true at the same time. All right. It can be true that block breaking is too prevalent and absolutely needs a nerf, which it does. And it can also be true that a lot of the issues you're experiencing could be blamed on a skill issue. And this is what I told him. I was like, yes, it absolutely needs work. It absolutely needs to be nerfed. There's some issues in there, and the solution is not to buff the block. We can talk about that for as long as you guys want, but the solution is not to buff the block. In fact, buffing the block is going to make block breaking even worse. Trust me on that. I told him, you know, there are a few things that you could be doing with your defense to, at the very least, not let you get ran through that quickly. And he didn't believe me. He didn't think, you know, there was really anything that he could have done. He just felt completely helpless. He felt that it was just completely the game. And I told him, look, if I try to do this right here against somebody that is defensively sound, and I'm not talking about someone that claims to be defensively sound, no, someone that is genuinely defensively sound in the game, I would look like I have never played the game. He would run right through me. It would not even be a competition. Now, Romero was streaming at the time. You guys know Anthony Romero, one of the absolute best players in the game. He knows everything there is to know about the game, but one of the things he does very well is his defense is extremely disciplined, and he uses every single defensive tool that the game gives you. He pivot lunges, he blocks, he moves his head, he used the new check hook in the game, he block counters, he uses the stiff arm retreat. He will clinch up with you. He will take down bail to try to avoid pressure. Every single defensive tool that the game has given you, he uses that, which is why it is extremely impossible to block break that guy. In fact, if I want a chance to win, block breaking is the absolute last method I would try to employ against him. And so I told Tito, I'm going to go fight Romero right now. He's streaming. I'm going to go fight him. I'm going to have him pick the same exact fighters. I'm going to fight him the same exact way that I fought you. And I promise you, I won't make it out of the first round ever. And he was like, there is no way. He couldn't believe it. And so I hit up Romero and we loaded up a game on stream. And I'm going to show you guys the matches that I had versus Romero right now. Let me tell you, it is not pretty. All right. So once again, I pick Ilya Topuria. Romero is using Yair Rodriguez. And I want you guys to notice the contrast, the difference in what happens right here. I am trying to do the same exact thing that I did to T-Dog, but look at how he's using all the defensive weapons he's got in the game, right? He's hitting me back as he's retreating, so he's fighting me back appropriately. He finds the right distance. He's moving his head very well. He's pivot lunging. He's attacking my body. He's attacking my head with beautiful combinations. He's moving his head. He's countering very well. Look at that. Counters, rocks me right away. Knows exactly when to stop. Knocks me down. He knocks me down. He doesn't back up. He follows up and starts pressuring himself. He notices that I'm coming back at him with the pressure. He backs up at the right time. Head movement at the right time. He's going to look to pivot out the cage. And he's doing all of this while switching stances and actually trying to mimic Yair Rodriguez. Look at that. Head movement. He's reading exactly where the punches are coming from. Of course, some shots are definitely getting in. But right there, I get rocked. I get sat down again. He gets on top. And this is going to be it right here. This is going to be it. It's the same. It was the same guy, me. Same guy that just ran through T-Dog playing like that. Could not even make it out the first round against Romero. Had me looking like a complete bum. Because the truth of the matter is, even with all the issues, even with all the tracking issues and all the other issues making block breaking more prevalent, which, by the way, I will reiterate, it absolutely needs to be nerfed. But even with all those issues, you as a player, you still have some responsibility to be more defensively sound than you probably are being. And I am guilty of that as well. So I fight him again. I'm like, okay, maybe people will say it's a fluke. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to do it again. And I'm really going to try. I'm going to put my best foot forward with the block breaking to try to get him out of it. Now, you could say, you know, you need a higher level block breaker to actually get Romero out of there. You know, maybe you need a Swizz or maybe you need a Nas to do it. But then again, that would defeat the argument that a lot of people are making that block breaking is mindless and it doesn't require skill. If it's going to require a more skilled player to defeat Romero by block breaking, then perhaps it requires some skill. You see what I'm saying? So right here, I'm trying again, and you'll notice he's making sure he's giving me something back. It's not just all defense. It is defense, but it's also occasionally making sure he's countering clean shots with high impact weapons. Look at that. He tees off on my own block as well. Rocks me with the elbow again. He actually lets me get back up. I stand up. Excuse me. Look at that beautiful pivot lunge. Now, look at that sequence right there. Go back and rewatch that sequence. A pivot lunge into a body hook, into the new check hook animation in the game. Look at that beautiful check hook animation in the game. Look at that. Using the check hook. He's using every single weapon available to you in the game to try to deal with it. Look at that. Look at the head movement. Beautiful. Sits me down with the elbow one more time. Sits me down again with the right hook. Gets on top, and I believe he finishes this fight again right here. So, when I show this, like, once again, do not get me wrong here, and don't twist this into saying that Marshall Mind is defending block breaking, because that would just make you extremely disingenuous. It really would. Because in this video, I haven't. In this video, I have admitted that it absolutely is too prevalent and it absolutely needs a nerf. That there are legitimate issues in the game in regards to block breaking that absolutely needs to be fixed. And we'll talk about those specific issues in a different video where I'm going to go in and really show you guys what the problem is. Because a lot of people think the problem is that the block is too weak. That's not the issue. I'll show you guys exactly what's happening. So please, don't be disingenuous. Don't do that. Don't try to paint a picture that I am trying to defend this style of play. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, if you're having trouble with this style, do what I'm doing right now, which is examine how you're playing, how you're defending, and see if maybe there's certain areas that you could improve your defense. Because the truth of the matter is, even after all of the issues making block breaking worse, even after all those issues are fixed, if your defense is not improved, you're still going to be able to be run down by strikes. This style of play, it is a realistic style of play. The only problem is that it's realistic in MMA when fighters are pinned against the cage, for example. Like if you guys go back and you watch Robbie Lawler versus Rafael dos Anjos, when Robbie Lawler was pinned against the cage and RDA was teeing off on him. Or you guys go back and you watch TJ Dillashaw versus Renan Barão when Barão was pinned against the cage and TJ threw a barrage of punches into his block over and over and over again and just absolutely shredded him. Or you guys go back and you watch Vitor Belfort versus Vanderlei Silva, where Vitor Belfort ran him down from one end of the cage and just freaking blasted right through his block and got him out of there. We have seen this style in real life, but the only problem is that we typically see it when fighters are pinned against the cage and they can't move, right? And they just hug and block, or when a fighter is really hurt. But in UFC 5, it's just the moment the ref says go, jab, 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 cross, jab, bop, bop, bop. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it's unrealistic. But the style itself, the style of breaking through somebody's guard when they're keeping their hands up and not doing much else in terms of defense, that style, it is a realistic style. It is something that we've seen happen in the sport of MMA before. So it's never going to not be effective in the game. And if you're asking for this style to not be effective in the game, period, then you're not being genuine. You're asking for something that makes no sense. This style should absolutely have its place. It should just not be as overpowered as it is right now, which once again I agree with you guys on. So I'm showing you this right now so that you can take a look at your defense. What can you improve on? And I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking at my defense and I'm watching what Romero is doing and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, I have work to do. Because even after this is fixed, I still want my defense to be that goddamn good. I don't want to, like, Romero does not go into a fight and worry that someone's going to block break him. He welcomes it. He goes, let's go. You're making it easy for him if you try to do that, which to the rest of us who are not as good, it's kind of crazy, right? It's like, holy shit, like when you think about somebody block breaking you, it's like, oh my God, I got to deal with this. But to him, it's like, yes, he has a big fucking smile on his face because he knows he's going to handle you easily if you do that. And that is a skill issue, all right? And we can all maybe not get to that level, but you can make certain improvements to your own skill to make yourself less block broke. I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say, but you get my point. You can increase your skill in certain areas. And maybe this fight that I just showed of Romero absolutely dismantling me while I try to block break him, maybe this will show you guys a few things you could add to your game. Maybe you could learn to pivot lunge better, right? You could learn to read punches better. You could learn to move your head better. You could learn to time counters better. You could learn to pick better counter shots to use to dismantle a guys, I was using Ilia Topuria. Topuria is probably next to Conor McGregor in the featherweight division when it comes to just absolute insane pressure. He's got that freaking snap jab. He's got the cross. He's a very powerful guy. He's fast. He should he should not be falling like that against Yair Rodriguez. But when you have a player that knows what they're doing, that's what it looks like. So, once again, just to end on this note, I'm emphasizing this so much just so that nobody can say I didn't say it. It is an issue. It's an issue that needs to be fixed, and we've already outlined to them. They already know exactly what the problems are, and it is going to get improved. It will be. But in the meantime, and also for the future, let us all try to improve our defense a little bit, right? Let's examine our game and see where we could probably make adjustments so that block breaking you becomes less easy. I'm not saying it will never happen. Like I said that in my deep dive. In that deep dive, I said that if you run in UFC 5, if you run into a player that knows exactly what he's doing, you can still get run down with strikes. And it should be a possible style in the game. But you can make it harder. With practice, with switching certain things up, you can make it harder. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something from the video. I hope so. I hope you understood the point that I was trying to make. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. You guys are amazing. And I will see you guys later with a brand new one. As always, stay safe. Peace out, boys.